This is a great honor for every fan of the Dallas Cowboys. I'm honored to be in the NFL.
What can I say? Mamba out.
All right, what's happening, everybody? Welcome to the afternoon show presented by ESEN. I'm Chris Gonzalez, joined by Tony Gonzalez and Jay McLovin. How's it going, guys?
Doing good.
Can't complain. The water bill is high. Got to water the damn grass. God ain't giving me no free water. Might have to go sell some blood. Otherwise, I think my grass is going to die because it's starting to turn a little brown. Guess we'll see what happens. Other than that, I guess it's okay, guys, though. But it's been damn hot. Followed by more damn hot. And I think continuing damn hot weather.
Yeah, it rained here a little bit over the weekend, a little bit Saturday night.
Well, good for you. Didn't rain here.
Not much. It didn't rain much.
Dude, it's so hot. It's so hot.
There was more lightning and thunder than there was fucking rain.
Yeah. Oh, damn. I know that.
Really?
Dude, it's so damn hot here, guys.
It sounded like it was going to get nasty, like it was going to really pour, but it never really poured. It just a little bit of rain. It never really poured, but it sounded like it was getting down out there. All the lightning and thunder.
It's like God said, "Psych, no water for you."
I was sitting in the garage and I was like, "Damn, you think it's really getting it, but it wasn't."
I'll tell you what, hey guys, it's so hot here. Normally, when Blue gets the opportunity to go outside, that dog's all about it. That motherfucker will beat you up just to get outside to go get some sun. It's so hot here. I opened up the door. He felt that wind come in. Nah, he turned around and went back and laid in his bed underneath that ceiling fan. I was like, yep, I ain't going outside today. If Blue ain't going to go outside, I sure as hell ain't going outside. But
Guys,
anywho,
let's get started. Roughly, depending on what team you are, roughly 37 games left in Major League Baseball, give or take one or two per team. But let's talk a little bit about the American League East. Right now, Toronto's up 5 games in their division. Detroit's up 8.5 in their division in the Central and American League. And then in the West, Houston's up, I believe, 1.5 games in the West, American League West. In the National League, the East, Philadelphia is up 5. And the Central, Milwaukee's up 8. And the Dodgers are up 2 in the West. The wild cards, National League, let's see, right now is Chicago, San Diego, and the Mets. Cincinnati's, I think, 1.5 games or 2 back. And then in the American League, we got Boston, Seattle, and the Yankees. And there's a little bit of distance. I think the closest team to the Yankees now is about 3.5 back. So the Yankees got a little distance there for that last wild card spot. Guys, first of all, let's talk a little bit about the Dodgers, man. The Dodgers, I watched some of that series. They put it on San Diego pretty good. They hit. Pitching was pretty strong. Excuse me. The bullpen. I get a drink. I'm choking to death. The bullpen. The bullpen had some struggles again, but they hung on. So the Dodgers swept San Diego. Judge Mathis was going crazy on Facebook.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting series there. Chris, let's talk a little about the Reds, and then we'll talk about Houston. Let's talk about the Cincinnati Reds and how that series went. I know you watched pretty much all the games. I kept track of them. Let's get your thoughts on the series.
Oh, man. Well, Reds should have swept the Brewers, which is, to me, is encouraging. I know we didn't, but the way those games went was encouraging because the Brewers have been best team in baseball. Definitely the hottest team in baseball, had that 13-game winning streak going. And game 1, if it wouldn't been for Ayers, our defense let us down. Our defense is what kept us this weekend, and our defense has been good. But for some reason, in the first 2 games, our defense let us down. That's what kept us from sweeping the Brewers this week. We were up 8-1 in game one. We scored 7 runs in the second. In the third inning, we ended up giving them 7 runs. But the problem with it was we had 2 outs, or no, 1 out. You go to turn a double play, you make an error on that double play. You get that double play, they don't score 5. They don't score 5 of those 7 runs they scored in that inning. Later on that game, there was another error where they got a couple more of their runs when they ended up taking the lead, got up to 10-8 and ended up beating us 10-9. On that game 2, we're up 1-0 the whole game. Top of the 9th inning, we get the first out, or no, we walk a guy, get a strikeout. Next one, ground ball to McLean, should be a double play, ball game. Flips it over to Dela Cruz. Dela Cruz, thinking he has to every time he throws the ball to first base, he needs to try to break a world record instead of just making sure you get the ball there. He wants to try to throw it 103 miles an hour, throws it in the dirt, not only in the dirt, but offline. So the ball gets past Steer, and in the time they score a run to tie game. It should have been ball game. You get a double play ball, it should have been a ball game, and you're up 2-0 in the series going into yesterday. Yesterday, we had the lead, and we almost blew that game because of it wasn't really an error. It was more a bad call by an umpire. Gave them us a strikeout, but then they got the walk, and then they got that home run. But then we came up in the bottom of the ninth. We got 3 or 4 hits and won the game. But yeah, we very easily could have swept that series. But I'm encouraged with the way the Reds, because we didn't lose the game. We didn't lose either one of them games because of our pitching. Our bullpen pitched good. Our starters all pitched good. And then we were playing the best team in baseball, and we was right. We should have swept them. So if we keep playing that kind of ball and we just clean up the defense, which hasn't been a problem this year, not like that, we'll be good. But yeah, we should have swept the Brewers in the series. But a lot of people I heard people say, well, that first game they didn't hit the ball after the second inning. Okay, they didn't. But if you just play defense and get the outs you're supposed to get, you still win that game because you scored 8 runs in the second inning. You just can't make mistakes. You give a good team extra outs, they're going to take advantage of it, and that's what happened in them games. We gave the Brewers extra outs, and they took advantage of it.
Yeah. First of all, I want to say I seen Hollywood House was checking us out. So how's it going? And then also on that, Chris, the other thing, Jay, you probably don't know this. On that 14-game win streak that Milwaukee had, they're batting .390.
Yeah,
It's going to be hard to beat a team that's batted .390. It's different, and I know we had errors and still should have won that game. But that game that we lost, whatever the score was, 9-8, 10, I forget what it was. But anyway, Milwaukee had 17 hits in that game, and we still should have beat them. And because of errors we did.
But if you look the other 2 games, we held Milwaukee to only 2 or 3 runs in the other 2 games. Like our pitching done the job.
Mattel and Apple pitched really well.
I really feel like I watched some of those games. I didn't get to watch all of them, but I did watch a little bit of that. The game 1 is one I watched a little bit of, and I put in the chat. I think Glenn saw it. When it was like 8-0, I was like, yep, they're gonna get game 1. They're kicking their ass. It's 8-0, and then I looked away and I came back and it was like 8-5, and I was like, "Oh damn! I guess I spoke a little too soon." But here's the thing, right? You're right, Chris. You absolutely should have swept Milwaukee. It was absolutely there for the taking, and I think it's just you got to clean it up a little bit. Yeah, like you said, some lackadaisical throws, a couple of little errors here and there that really cost you big time. And you know how good the Brewers are playing right now. That's a team you can't make errors against and expect to come away with the win. But like you said a minute ago, I always like to end things off with a positive note. The fact that you hung with them, the fact that it was there for the taking, the fact that you just need to clean up a few little things left and right, you're right in there. There's no reason why you're not in there. And Seattle obviously didn't do you guys any favors because they dropped 2 to the Mets. I felt like if they would have swept the Mets, not a lot to ask for, but if they would have swept the Mets, and you guys, even though you only got one game out of it, you probably would have been like a half game back, and you certainly would have been within striking distance of the Mets. The thing about it is I just think it's going to be a little harder now because I don't know I'm expecting the Brewers, but it was looking pretty good for you guys.
Well, this week is pretty interesting. The Cubs in Milwaukee.
Chris Frozer, he's thinking about it.
Yeah, the Cubs in Milwaukee have a 5-game series. They play a doubleheader today, and then they play again Tuesday.
Nice.
So we play the Angels out on the West Coast. These are big games for us because the Cubs and Milwaukee are going to beat up on each other. And hopefully, I mean, I it's tough, Chris. Who would you rather win? Would you rather Milwaukee win and knock the Cubs back, or do you? I mean, the chances of catching Milwaukee are pretty slim. We're like 13 games behind Milwaukee, so it's probably better than if the Cubs lose.
Yeah.
No, at this point, it's only better than the Cubs lose because you're not going to catch Milwaukee.
I ain't worried about catching Milwaukee, but we're still in striking distance in the wild card. We're only a game and a half back.
Oh yeah, no, don't get me wrong. I'm not. Maybe I worded it wrong. It's not like I'm not saying you're in striking distance. I'm just saying like you could have been like half game. You've been there. I can't tell you how many times I've seen though the Mets in half game. Huh?
We could have been either tied or ahead if we'd have swept the Brewers.
If we'd have swept them, we'd have been up a half game.
But like you said, you're only a game and a half back. I mean, consider where you were. And you got 37 games to do it. I mean, you just got to get it. You need to get, like you said, a couple of more. If you get a couple of more series, win series under your belt. And I don't think the Mets are out of the woods. I think the Mets are still struggling. So I think it's still very easy. You guys could catch that third wild card spot.
Well, the other thing is we still play a series against the Mets as well.
Hey, that series against the Mets is going to be big because whoever wins that will probably get that last wild card spot.
Good. I'm saying we still play the Mets in the series, so that helps.
Yeah, the Mets are off tonight, and they play the Nationals.
I did tell you though, Tony. But hey, on yesterday or the day before yesterday, wherever our show it was, it must have been day before yesterday's, whatever. I think it was Friday's show or whatever. I told you that if you guys could win one game out of Milwaukee, I said I felt like that was a pretty good deal because they, like I said, with this as hot as they are in baseball, if you can take one and just end their damn win streak and kind of bring them back to earth for a second. I felt like that was going to be a good victory. And I think it's a good moral victory. I think the fact that, and I think for your team, I think your team knows, damn, we let this slip away. We had them. We should have beat. I think they know that they can beat the best team in baseball, which sometimes that could be the spark going into this next series, especially since you won the last game of that series. That means you ended on a positive note going into your next series after that. I mean, I think you're going to be okay.
And the Reds also made a
better
move.
than what they asked us to, I'll tell you that.
The Reds made a move with was it Fraley, I think?
Yeah, they had to send Fraley down. He rolled his ankle in that game Saturday night. He rolled his ankle when he fell, so they had to put him on the IL, and they brought Benson up yesterday.
Okay. Glenn,
Wade Miley made a start in the minor league over. I think it was either Friday or Saturday. I think it was 2A.
What was it, Tony?
Glenn, you got any take on the Reds and the Milwaukee series?
I'm looking forward to the Reds getting that last wild card spot or being able to host a wild card game. And I sure hope Milwaukee Brewers fans enjoy those burgers that they got over the weekend because it's going to be a long time before they get another one.
Okay, guys, you guys got anything else on Major League Baseball that you guys wanted to discuss?
None here. Jay's on
I
mute.
didn't hear what you said.
Yeah, Jay.
Jay,
My bad. See that I call that the Gonzo. Like if on a firearm, you got that little safety over there, it keeps you from getting into trouble. Yeah, I got that's my little safety valve there. And that saves me a lot of ass pain. I mean, I only got one cheek left. Gonzo done took the left one, so I got to keep the right one. But no, I'm teasing. Eventually, Gonzo's going to smile eventually. Gonzo don't smile very much. So if I get a smile out of Gonzo, I feel like I'm doing good. No, but seriously, hey, Joe, I know you're a little like, look, I know that game did not make you feel good. It didn't make me feel good either. I mean, the fact that we almost gave the Orioles, probably the worst team, one of the worst teams in baseball, a perfect game was not going to sit well with me. So at least we didn't give them a perfect game, Joe. So just take that away for comfort. Secondly, don't get too discouraged right now. This is still August. We haven't got into September ball yet. I just saw Garcia. Looks like they're getting ready to activate him. He had a good game yesterday out there in Sugarland AAA ball club and Smith Cowboys, I think their name is. But he struck out 7. I think he allowed 1 run on 4 hits, I think over 6. So it looks like he's due to come back here pretty soon. So that'll be another bullpen in the arm. Or another arm in the bullpen. And it looks like Alvarez now is back in Houston from Florida where he was doing his rehab. It looks like they're going to give him probably 1 or 2 more goes out there in Sugarland and AAA to make sure he's good. And then I think we're going to see Alvarez back in the lineup. So, and I think Jake Myers should probably be in the lineup as well. So we're going to get 3 more big pieces back to that lineup. So don't get discouraged. I know it looks rough right now, but keep your head up, Chiller. We're still in first place.
Hey, Chris, do you know who's going for the Reds tonight? Is it Green?
I think it's Green, but I haven't really checked to see. But I think it would be Green. I'm getting ready to check.
And also, the rookie Burns got put on the DL too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chase Burns, that rookie, he went down too with was it a oblique?
Yeah, which they were already going to move him to the bullpen anyway. But yeah.
Yeah, they want to save his arm.
Yeah, they weren't going to let him pitch many more innings.
Well, guys,
the Cubs and Brewers are playing right now.
Yeah, they started at 2 because they got a double hitter. Must be a makeup game.
Yeah.
Well,
no, it's Brady Singer is pitching for the Reds.
And then Green will probably go the next game.
Green will be tomorrow night.
Well, guys, let's move on. You guys are good with it. Let's move on to the NFL. One of the big stories again, Chris, and you've been kind of on this, that you thought that he still may get traded. Trey Hendrickson of Cincinnati. Cincinnati's listening to trade offers again for the pass rusher. Chris, have you heard anything? Are the coach reaching out?
I don't know. I hope they are, but this is a weird situation. I don't understand what the Bengals are thinking here. You spent all this money on offense. Your defense was one of the worst defenses in the league last year. And instead of getting players to try to make your defense better, you fire your defensive coordinator who 3 seasons before last year, everybody thought was one of the best defensive coordinators in the league. But you keep spending all this money on offense, none on defense, so then your defense starts getting weak. You get rid of a good defensive coordinator, and now you don't want to pay one of your best defenders on the team, but you're spending all the money on the offense. Yeah, I think Hendricks. I've been there the whole time. I think Hendricks is going to get traded. I don't know what team. I know I've heard the Ravens as a team, but I don't see the Bengals ever letting Baltimore get him. I don't see them trading him in their division. I've also heard that people say they thought he'd be a good fit with the Commanders. I don't know if the Commanders can make that. I don't know if they can make it work salary cap wise and what you have asset wise. But yeah, I don't think he's going to sign unless the Bengals just are going to give him what he wants. But it sounds like the Bengals want him for like 28, 29. He wants at least no, wait a minute, never mind. That's McLaurin. That was wanting at least 30, but he's wanting what TJ Watt and these other guys got, and his numbers say that he deserves it. So
yeah,
interesting. I think he gets traded.
The team I think watch out for, and this is going to make Frankie happy. Watch out for the New England Patriots.
They got money.
And they got draft picks. So I think New England might be a team to look out for. Hopefully, it's going to be the Colts, but I agree with you. I don't see how they would give them to the Ravens.
I do agree with Sports Rush here. The great signing by the Colts today, getting Xavier Howard.
Yep, agree with that too.
Rumor
Jay?
has it. I was going to say, rumor has it Daniel Jones is going to be the Week 1 starter.
I think he will be too.
I think it's going to get in. I think Steichen's going to announce it tomorrow who's going to be the starter. And after watching the preseason game, or I didn't watch the preseason game, let me rephrase that. After listening to the preseason game, a little bit of it on the radio while I was out driving around, and then I happened to hear the Shane Steichen press conference afterwards, and then listening to some of the guys on the radio that are at like Colts practices and stuff. I think it's going to be Daniel Jones. I think Daniel is going to be Daniel Jones. I'm not saying Richardson won't play at all this season, but I think Daniel Jones is going to be the week one starter. But I do think from the way they were talking, it wouldn't surprise me if Steichen don't make the announcement tomorrow because he has already had a schedule. So it wouldn't surprise me if he announced.
Yeah, I was going to say, I have an interesting idea. They should put Anthony Richardson as a slot receiver.
He can't stay for the
Hey, it might work.
Hey, well, that worked for one play until he got tackled one time, then he got hurt.
Yeah. Chris,
At
do you
least he
think
won't be out there as much, though.
they might put a package or two in for him a game?
I could see him maybe doing. I could see them maybe doing something like that, especially in the red zone.
Like a wildcat.
I can see him. I can see him using Richardson sometimes in the red zone to run some plays. So yeah, it wouldn't be surprising if you didn't see maybe a package that they'll break out every now and then. But yeah, I do think week one starter is going to be Jones, but you never know. But from listening to the way Steichen was talking and some of the other guys, I think it's going to end up being Jones.
Yeah, I watched the first half of Green Bay and the Colts, and Jones looked pretty good. Richardson didn't look bad. So I mean, but like I said, you just don't know. But yeah, I think it's going to be Jones. Jay, what do you think about the Cincinnati situation, and what do you think about the Colts quarterback situation? And then start you off after that with the Cowboys. What did you see in the Cowboys preseason?
So I know it's going with the Colts situation, but I'm sorry, I missed a part about the Cincinnati Bengals. What's going on with Cincinnati?
Well, the Trey Hendrickson, the pass rusher, they're talking about trading him again. They're listening to offers for the.
Oh yeah. All right, I'll start off with Colts. That's easier. Colts. I definitely think Danny Dimes is gonna get the starting nod. I can't imagine why they would give Richardson a starting nod. As far as Richardson on Wildcats, I mean, I could certainly see that. He's got good athletic ability, so it'd be good to take advantage of that. Almost like a Taysom Hill over there with New Orleans type of thing. The only thing I'm curious about is, if Danny Dimes does do well in the regular season and he doesn't have really any issues, and, if it gives you a really good solid season out of him, does that then put Anthony Richardson on the trade block next year, or would you want to keep him as a secondary option?
Well, it depends on what if anybody offers them what they offer them, and because you're not going to get a lot for them, but
Right.
it also depends on what it would cost to re-sign him if you wanted to keep him like as a backup. If they could get him cheap and keep him if they want to have him as a backup, you know what I mean? If they decide that Jones was the guy after this season, but yeah, I think if they decide Jones is the guy and Jones plays all season, they'll either try to sign him cheap to keep him as a backup, or they'll move on from him and see if they can, because he'll be coming up on his last year of his rookie deal, and you're not going to re-sign him. You're not going to re-sign him to a big deal if you're not going to use him as a starter. So you'll either try to get him a real cheap deal or move on.
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of what I was thinking too. In terms of the Bengals situation, with Hendrickson. I think at this point, you almost have to trade him at some kind of way. You've got to move on from him because this is the second time that you brought up trading him, and you haven't worked out a deal. I think in his mind, his loyalty to the team or his fight for the team, you got to imagine it's probably dwindled down to nothing because he knows he ain't going to get a contract from you. And so, yeah, I think you do got to move on from him. And who's going to pick him up and trade? That's a good question because who's going to pay that value? I know I'd love to see it could go to the Cowboys, but because we need somebody on defense opposite of Micah Parsons. If we are able to get Micah Parsons even signed, I'll talk about that in a minute when we talk about the Cowboys. But but I don't think we had the money to give a guy like Hendrickson. So I don't even. It had to be who's going to pay for him. He is a little older. What, 36, I think now. So they got to find. I mean, I think at some point for him to go to another team, I got to imagine either they're going to give him a short-term deal, like a 1 or 2 year deal, and that's it, or they're going to give him probably a deal that's less money-wise than what he's looking for from Cincinnati. So that's a really rough situation to be in for both him as a player and the Cincinnati as an organization due to his age and what he's going to want. So I don't know. That's a hard one right there. I think at the end of the day, I think they do get him traded. I don't know, but that's a hard one. I can't even fathom what the answer for that is. I mean, I just don't know who's going to want to pay a 36-year-old guy, even though he is performing anything more than 2 years. So I think if he moves on, it's going to be on a short-term contract, and I think it's I think that's a tough situation. I don't know how that's going to play out, because it's difficult. In terms of the Cowboys, yeah, man, we got our asses handed to us by the Ravens at 31-13. Milton still doesn't look good to me. I know Frankie seems to talk great about him, but he had another interception. He didn't go for a whole lot of yards. As a matter of fact, Will Grier, even though he didn't throw that many times, had a better QBR than what Milton did. I think Milton's QBR was less than 70. So he had a worse QBR this game than he did the first preseason game. It should be trailing upwards, not downwards. And so I got to tell you, my biggest thing for the Cowboys is they gave up 31 points. Yes, I understand they didn't have their starters in, or at least not a lot of their starters in. But that just tells me that all the scrubs that we have, at least from what I saw, they didn't look all that great. They weren't pressuring the quarterback at all. So I don't know, man. I think the Cowboys I think we're in for a rude awakening come game day. I just feel it in my bones, man. If Dak Prescott goes down with the injury, I don't know how much faith I have in Milton, at least not right now. I want to see what the rest of this preseason looks like. But as of right now, I have no faith at all in our quarterback room if Dak Prescott goes down. Secondly, our defense, I still think is a big situation. And I still don't know what we have in the rushing game because Jaden Blue didn't play. The only one that played that was Miles Sanders. Williams didn't play, and Miles Sanders didn't have a good game. He had a terrible game rusher. I think he had like 3.3 yards or less than 3.3 yards per rush. So you want to know what I think about the Cowboys?
And fuck Jerry Jones.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Fuck you, Jerry. And fuck them all.
Couple other notes, guys. Caleb Williams looked decent. I happened to see a little bit on Fox. I didn't watch a lot of it. Started off 6 for 10 for 107 yards. Did have a 36-yard touchdown pass. Looked good the first series, but like I said, he as long as he could throw the ball right off the bat to his first target, he looked pretty good. But if that first target was shut down, after that he was like 0 for 4, and he didn't hit any of his second targets. So I still think the reads may be an issue. Of course, everybody's going crazy because the Ben Johnson offense looked great. Scored 38 points on the Buffalo Bills. But, who was out there on the field? So, I mean, that's the question. At least it is a little bit of a positive. So maybe Williams can build on that. And then the other thing, Flacco was named the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. And then one other note, then you guys can comment on them if you got on these three things. Jackson Dart looked very good for the Giants. Some people even question maybe if he shouldn't be the starter. I don't think he should be. They've got the other veteran there. I think you go ahead and start him, and then Dart maybe comes in later in the season. But Dart looked very good. He really did. Chris, let's go to you first. What do you think about Caleb Williams, Flacco, and Jackson Dart?
I figured Flacco was going to be the starter in Cleveland unless he was injured, and I knew they weren't going to play him in the preseason, so there wasn't no reason for him to be injured unless something happened, some kind of fluke shit happened at practice. Caleb Williams, I didn't watch any of it. I've heard some people talk about it, but I mean, it sounded like he had a good game, but it was also preseason's hard to judge because even I felt the same way like watching Richardson and Daniel Jones. And people, Richardson threw the ball good. Yeah, okay, but it's not against the first team guys. It's against a lot of guys that might not even be on these teams. And that's the same situation with Caleb Williams last night. You're going against the 2s and the 3s. It ain't the number 1. Not saying you can't take nothing from it, but it's just you gotta try not to overreact. And but yeah, I mean, now I think it's encouraging that he played pretty good because I mean that shows you some signs that okay, maybe he's picking some stuff up because you don't want him to go out there and struggle real bad against the 2s and 3s either.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, I think he'll be. I wasn't real high on him coming out of college. I wasn't as high on Caleb Williams as everybody else. I didn't think he was the number. Should have been. Well, I know he ended up not being. Did he end up being the number 1 pick?
Yeah, Caleb, I believe, was the number 1 pick.
Yeah, I think
James was 2, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I watched him. I watched the dude mentally break in college one game, and once I watched him do that, it was hard for me to say he was going to be a great quarterback in the NFL. I watched Notre Dame rattle him 30 seconds into the game, and they had him rattled the whole game. He couldn't do nothing.
He never recovered for the season.
No,
he wasn't the same quarterback after that.
So that's what had me down on him a little bit as being like that high of a guy. I think he'll be a solid. I think he has the ability to be a solid quarterback. I just don't know if he's going to be that number 1, like that big franchise guy or not. But I mean, hey, they're giving him every opportunity that they brought in supposedly offensive genius and Ben Johnson to be the head coach. They're doing everything they can. They've tried to improve that offensive line. So the Bears are trying to do everything they can to make sure he succeeds, and we'll see if it works out. And who was the other quarterback?
Jackson Dart.
I've just seen a few highlights. I know from what the highlights and like the numbers and stuff, he looks like he's playing pretty good. I think they're going to have a decision there to make. I think even if they do go with Russell Wilson that started the season, I would not be surprised if Jackson Dart don't end up taking that job over. But it's also another thing. It's preseason. You don't want to overreact as either. But it is encouraging. I mean, it is encouraging when you see a guy performing well.
Jay.
Yeah. I guess I'll start off with Jackson Dart. It seems like they're pretty high on this guy. New York is, especially Dable. You're right. I mean, 14 to 16. I mean, that's a hell of a good completion rate. I'll take that all day for my new guy. 137 and a touch, no interception. He did take a sack. And again, I don't want to, like Chris said, I don't want to blow it out of proportion because it is preseason, and it is against New York Jets. So I like to keep some things in perspective, but still, for your first game out of the chute, maybe it's the second game. I don't know how much you played in preseason in the first game. I just caught this game a little bit, but at 123 QBR, that's not bad for your first time out. So I feel like they seem pretty high on him. I think they did name Russell Wilson as a starter. So I think he gets the starter, but don't be surprised. I think Wilson's going to be on a very short leash. I mean, if he even looks like he's going to screw up, I would be surprised if Jackson Dart gets the green light and they just say, all right, we're going to roll with the rookie and see what he's got. So I think for those reasons, I think I would not be surprised if Jackson Dart got the nod in week 1. If Wilson struggles or gets hurt, he's doing might be freezing up. Am I freezing up? I feel like I'm.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, my internet's acting kind of stupid right now. Nah, I know I'm not muted. Oh, I see you're muted. I see what you did there, Chris. Okay, good job. I like how he plays along. It's awesome. But no, let's move on real quick. I know. So we talked about New York. Caleb Williams, I guess, was the next one up for bid. Caleb Williams, yeah, okay. I think Caleb is. You remember when he first came in the league? How even when he's like in college, he was talking himself up to bigger than what he was, right? He was like, I'm going to be the best thing ever at sliced bread, and people are going to acknowledge me. They're like, you ain't even played your first snap yet, but you're all hyped up on yourself. So I think right now, I feel like Caleb Williams is more hyped than he is actual legitimate goods, and I would not be surprised if he is a bust. What I don't understand is, correct me if I'm wrong, and y'all probably know better than I do, is Ben Johnson. He was the defensive coordinator for Detroit, right?
Offensive coordinator for Detroit.
Was it? Okay. For some reason, I thought he was. You're right. So Glenn was a defensive
Glenn
guy.
was the defensive coordinator.
I always get them confused or whatever. But anyway, okay. So, yeah, I mean, I think, and Ben Johnson said he's trying to create a culture there. He kicked out the team off the field. He's kicked Caleb Williams off of the field. Here we are in week 2, getting ready to go into, obviously week 3 coming up. I can tell you guys, I don't have faith in this game. I know it's preseason, but if you look like garbage in preseason, how you gonna look like hot good stuff in the regular season? So I don't expect much out of Chicago. I don't think Big Grim is gonna expect much out of Chicago. I'm pretty sure if Gonzo was doing when he does his pick'em show, he probably ain't putting him in high regard. And Tony, well, nobody knows where you are. You're just kind of all over the place. So we're gonna get kid. But no, yeah, so that's how I feel about Caleb Williams. I think Caleb Williams, if that man can't hit a damn target that's not moving in a basket, he's overthrowing baskets and overthrowing this left, right, up and down. Yeah, whatever. And if all you got is one good target, well, guess what? That one good target probably is going to be double teamed, and then where are you going to go? Because they ain't too hard for a defensive coordinator to realize you suck and double team the one guy that you're going to. So take that with a grain of salt. I have Chicago last place. I have Caleb Williams being an ultimate bust. Do with that information as you will. We'll see what happens when regular season comes around. I think the last one was Cleveland and Shedeur. The GM came out. I don't know if it was before. I think the GM came out after week 1 preseason where Shedeur had a good week, and he was happy about Shedeur. He said, "You know what? I'm glad. I like what I see out of Shedeur." And take yourself off you. What? I see you over there. What? Just say it. No, just say it. I hate that guy. He's playing with my emotions right now. He's worse than Frankie sometimes.
Okay.
Well,
Right, so
I'm gonna close it with this. When it comes to, did I go to the wrong? We're talking about Shedeur. Was the other one right?
He was talking about Flacco, but
Flacco.
That's
why he was. That's why he was laughing.
We know you love.
I'm gonna go with that. Okay, back on track. So yes, Flacco's going to be the week's one. But I really felt like, and I told you guys, and I said this. Calm down. I can't even do this now. Y'all done screwed me all up. No, look. Flacco's going to be the week 1 starter because you're right. And good call, Chris. Flacco did. I can't do it. He done got discombobulated. Okay, here we go. Last time.
Jay.
Hold on.
Well,
hold on. Yes, Flacco's a starter. I felt like Shedeur could have got that starting position had he produced throughout the season, but obviously he got hurt. So I felt like Shedeur couldn't show out. I think if Shedeur could have showed out and proved that he's a legitimate QB1 early on, right? I feel like he could have maybe I think he could have taken over Flacco. But I don't. But obviously, because he had that oblique strain, it gave Dylan Gabriel the opportunity to come in. And Dylan Gabriel hasn't looked good either. I think he had 72. I think it was his QBR. He what 1 interception. So, as a matter of fact, Tyler Huntley, who I think went 10 of 16 or 10 of 13, something like that. he had even a better game than what Dylan Gabriel has. My point is, I don't like Dylan Gabriel. I do not believe in Dylan Gabriel. I do have a little bit of good feeling about Shedeur. I just felt like Shedeur, that oblique strain, took him out of competition and really allowed Flacco to kind of cement that starting role. And then I do think, and then we're going to see what happens after that. But at the end of the day, man, he's still a good quarterback. He ain't going to get you to the Super Bowl, but he's still a good quarterback. Okay, I'm done now.
Yeah, all right. My thoughts on Flacco, it was obvious that he's going to be the week 1 starter. Mike Hughes probably thinks the Bears is going to the Super Bowl at this point, and Dart, I have no thoughts on that one. So yeah.
Okay. All right, guys. One thing real quick on Flacco. Flacco, I think in his time in Cleveland so far, when he was there a couple years ago, I think he's like 4-1 as a starting quarterback for Cleveland. So he has had some success in Cleveland. But we'll see how that transforms this year. Hopefully Chris is still out there. He's going to move on to some UFC, and then Jay had a little college football. UFC 319 happened Saturday. I was going to ask Chris what he thought about the championship fight for the middleweight championship. Chris, your thoughts on that fight, Chimaev and Duplessis?
It was total domination by Chimaev. I'll be honest with you. When they first announced this fight, I thought Chimaev would win, and then more I thought about it, I started leaning toward Duplessis a little bit because Chimaev has a tendency sometimes. I know he hasn't been beat, but he has a tendency sometimes to start to gas out. But the problem is nobody's been able to push him to go all 5 rounds or to push that pace because they can't make it past like the second round with the guy. But I thought Duplessis would have a good chance of making the fight, extend the fight. But the problem was he extended the fight to 5 rounds. But the problem was it wasn't no fight. He was getting his ass beat basically the whole time, other than maybe a 10-second burst here and there, a couple rounds. There toward the end of the fight, he had like a 20, 30-second burst where he had. But I mean, if you watch that fight, most of the rounds were 10-8 rounds.
Yep.
I mean, most of them were 10-8 rounds by the challenger. The challenger dominated, and I hate all the booing. I didn't even like. I thought the one time the referee stopped the fight and brought him up to their feet, I thought was bullshit. There was one time where he wouldn't advance, wasn't doing nothing. Okay, but when you were advancing, and you had the guy almost in a crucifix, you can't bring him up. But the booing, I understand. I hear people, hey, he's not advancing, not advancing. Get up. I mean, that's part of MMA. This isn't boxing, and it just proved that if you're a great wrestler, you can negate somebody. You can negate somebody else's whole game by just being able to take him down and control him. And the thing was, people were booing. He wasn't doing that. He had him in a crucifix. Yeah, he wasn't hitting them with power shots, but he was hitting them like
not once. Not once did he have him a crucifix. How many times? Have you ever seen a fight where a guy gets put in a crucifix 4 or 5 times in the fight? I've never seen that.
It was total domination. I just wish, and I understand everybody wants to see the big knockouts, and you want to see that, but just because you don't see that every fight, the booing the guys, because that was high level grappling that was going on, and instead of appreciating what you're watching, we're booing it just because it's not a flashy knockout that you might see that we saw like on the prelims, or not even the prelims, the 2 fights before, we got the 2 spinning back elbows. First time ever that there was 2 knockouts by spinning back elbows at the same event. It happened in almost back-to-back fights. So and they were both clean and they were nasty looking, like, and everybody goes crazy for it. But yeah, I don't get too. I mean, I don't know. I just wish people would just respect that it's an all-around game, and it's not just all about standing on your feet trying to knock somebody out. It's not. This is a boxing, and like even in boxing, it ain't always the guy that knocks everybody out that's the champ. It's the guy that has good strategy and outboxes the guy. And Chimaev went in there with the perfect strategy to win the championship, and he executed his plan to perfection, and now he's the champion.
Well, Duplessis knew what was coming. He knew that he was going to try to take him down, and he couldn't stop it. He could never. I think he stopped him one time, but then he still 10 seconds later still got tucked down.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he took him down 7 out of 8 times. I mean, he knew what was coming, and then he never got hand control to try to come up. I mean, yeah, the guy on bottom is going to move too. So yeah, I thought it was a great game plan, and you couldn't execute it any better. Was it the most exciting fight I've ever seen? No, but of course we've been around wrestling, so we understand it. But big crowd there. That was in Chicago. Sold out crowd. Over 20,000 people there in Chicago. So
I wish they would bring a UFC to Indy. I'd love to go to one. I've never been to one live. I'd love to go to one. I think it's been like 15 years or so, 15 years or at least 15 years, if not longer, since they've been in Indy. Hey, what's up, Billy?
Billy Buzz, how's it going, buddy? I don't think you've seen any of the fight, did you, Glenn?
Yeah, I mean that's why they call it mixed martial
barely
arts,
got to
right?
it,
It's
honestly.
mixed. I mean, you got multiple than just one thing.
I barely got to it, honestly, with everything else.
I just
going on.
feel like
But yeah,
Yeah.
anyways.
I just feel like I like the ground game.
I missed out. There's a bunch of other stuff going on, events and stuff. I didn't get to it.
I got to see the main event. That's all I watched.
Yeah, that Triple Mania was great though.
Yeah, Triple Mania WWE did was outstanding. There's over 4.3 million people who watched that show on YouTube, free in 24 hours. 4 million people have watched that.
You sure that want you under in Microman outfit on Saturday? Because man,
Hey, I'm not quite that short, but
Yeah.
Jay, you need to look that up. Look up Omos and Microman. Omos is 7'3", and Microman is 3'3", and they had a face off, and it is hilarious. It is hilarious, and then also Microman goes off the ropes and almost about kicked him out of the ring. He gives him a big foot to the head, but it was a hell of a show.
That's hilarious.
And then you wanted to bring up something about college football real quick.
Yeah, I just so the what do you call it? The Ohio State finally has announced who their starter is going to be. I believe its last name is Sayin, if I'm saying it correctly, Sayin. So yeah, it's going to be a big game, right? You're going to have number 1 Texas or the AP poll going up against Ohio State. I forget where they got Ohio ranked. I know they're probably in the top 5. I think like 3 or 4. But and I was telling Chris earlier, Texas is actually the underdog in this. Even though they're the top-ranked team, they're the underdog. And so it's going to be a great game. And the fact that they finally announced who they're going to be, I guess, who they're going to have, Sayin has had, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, 24 snaps. He's completed 17 out of 24 snaps and 1 touchdown. So that's all he has. Now, he is the number 9th ranked recruit out of that 2024 class. And they did expect him to eventually take over the reins. But again, Arch Manning has had a few games in there. So I'm really curious to see how both of these quarterbacks attack it, because both quarterbacks were sitting at second place on the depth chart last year. So I'm really curious to see how that's going to pan out for this Ohio-Texas game. I expect it to be a rough, physical, competitive game, but it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great game. I'm definitely looking forward to watching it on I believe the 30th. I think it's going to come down to the last series of the game. I really think it's going to be a good game. And Ohio State is, I think, a slight favorite. And again, because they're home, it's pretty much going to be a pick 'em, I think. Anybody else got any thoughts on that before we move on?
I think that Ohio State Texas game is going to be more like the Ohio State Tennessee playoff game.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not really a Ohio State fan.
And actually, I was wrong. I want to reiterate that. He said, so Sayin appeared in 4 games for Ohio State in 2024. He logged 27 snaps, and he could 12 for 84 yards and a touchdown. So if he did 4 games, that many snaps, that tells me he probably got a lot of garbage time yardage. So it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out.
Okay, guys, we're going to move on to our hot seat thing in 1 second, but I want to ask Glenn a question. Glenn, are you ready for Wrestlepalooza?
Oh, absolutely, 1,000%. I'm actually happy some things changed on my San Francisco trip. That's going to allow me to get a better seat than what I originally planned on getting. So,
Do you think this is going to be the name of this event now? Do you think this is 100? We've heard this is the third name we've heard for this big event that's going to happen in Indianapolis, WWE on September 20th.
heck, they could have called it Big Glen Mania, and I've been okay with it.
Hey, don't forget to take the belt with you when you go.
Actually, it'll be shipped. It'll be sent to you guys by then, because it's September 20th.
Oh, just hang on to it. Hey, I don't need that belt until after it's over with. So one more go around, ain't gonna hurt nothing.
All right, I just want to make sure I got the permission from you guys on
Oh
that.
no, yeah, no. One more go. If anything, it's just gonna make us try harder to get away from you with all the places. So keep it.
Permission shit. The champ does what he wants. The champ makes the rules. You don't get to get permission. What the hell?
I'll send to you.
Have you heard the new story going around? Of course, you'd heard that WWE was going to put a show on September 20th there in Indianapolis to go up against AEW's big pay-per-view on that day. But now they've come out and said they've had 3 different names. Now it's going to be called Wrestlepalooza. The last time there was a Wrestlepalooza was ECW back, I think, around 2000 or so. And the other big rumor is that it's going to show live on ESPN to give the fans a look at what pay-per-view is going to look like on ESPN. That's the big rumor that came out last night about 10:30, and everybody's picked up on it. So we'll see what happens there. Guys, we'll go to the hot seat segment.
One more thing. Just we're talking about wrestling. I did want to throw one more thing out there. I certainly would like to sponsor having Glenn go to Gonzo's house and DDT his ass for me. I would love to see one disabled guy go against another disabled guy, and I would pay to see Glenn just a couple of strikes to the head would be great too, if you can get that in there. Just because Gonzo's been a little douchebag to me lately, so I need you to go. I need you to go there and whoop his ass. You do that, and you can keep the belt forever.
Damn, there you go. Take a DDT for you get to keep the belt forever.
Like Glenn, we can work something out where he thinks that you DDT me. That way you can keep the belt forever.
Oh, see,
We'll just run that clip from the open for GWR. That Joey Owens clip.
Okay, guys.
Hey, that's right. You know we need to do no, because you'll I see that's the thing about I'll tell you what though. Nah, just go there and DDT him and then just send me the video. I'll believe you. I don't think you'll screw. I know you'll do it correctly.
We'll just put myself in the green shirt and run the clip of Joey Owens going through the table or whatever.
Hey, you just DDT him and throw him into that couch. And then after you throw him into the couch, you just put that cat on him and have that cat take a nice healthy poo, and I'll be happy.
All right, guys, let's move on to the hot seat segment. We'll ask some questions. You guys can answer. My first one is a boxing one. Best boxing match you've ever seen? I'm going to go first, and I'm going to go Sugar Ray Leonard, Thomas Hearns. Of course, it was on TV. I don't think none of us have seen a lot of boxing live. I've seen some more amateur fights, though. What about you, Big Glenn?
I've not seen enough of it, but like anything Mike Tyson, I would say.
Okay. All right. What about you, Chris?
Oh man. that I've watched probably was Pacquiao. Probably one of the Pacquiao Mayweather fights that I actually got to watch because I didn't get I didn't get to watch a lot of older fights.
Yep.
But one that I watched, dude.
What about you, Jay?
Yeah, obviously, I love Evander Holyfield. I like the way he boxes. I like his technical aspects, his speed, power, and everything that he's done. Any of Evander's fights, I've enjoyed. But I do like. Obviously, I have seen. Of course, everything I'm watching is on TV, just like you, right? Sugar Ray against Marvin Hagler was good. Sugar Ray against Tommy Hitman Hearns was good. Some of De La Hoya's fights, were really, really good. But I've always just really loved Evander Holyfield. The guy the skill that he has. I look at boxing now and I see a bunch of fat people in there. Not really. I mean, nothing against Fury and all them guys, but they weren't in the kind of shape that Evander was in. They got the way he took care of his body. It was just amazing. Lennox Lewis, the way he took care of his body, Muhammad Ali. I mean, I've watched all these guys on TV, but Sugar Ray and Marvin Hagler, Aaron Hitman Hearns, yeah. But I'll tell you, the best boxing I've ever actually seen was in person was Golden Gloves. I saw a lot of. My dad used to take me to the Golden Gloves a lot when I was a kid, and I always loved watching Golden Glove boxing.
Actually, you know what? I lied about one I've seen. Butterbean at WrestleMania 15.
Butterbean. All right, guys. Next question is basketball. Your most underrated basketball player of all time. Jay, we'll go to you first.
Underrated. Wow, underrated. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you. Mad Max, Vernon Maxwell. Man, that guy was amazing. He was probably one of the only guys I know that could defend Michael Jordan and defend Jordan well. I mean, really, really well. I mean, I've seen him strip the ball from Jordan on more than one time. I mean, I think even Michael Jordan came out and said how good Vernon Maxwell was. So I felt like he never really got the appreciation. I also feel like, even though, I feel like Olajuwon gets a lot of credit. I think one of the things that really kind of gets my goat, while they don't have Olajuwon ranked higher in their top 10 or even in the top 15, is the fact that he has 2,500 blocks, and he had 2,500 something. It's like 2,000 and 2,000. I forget what the other stat was, but he's obviously the shot leader. But he also is the only player in NBA history to ever have Defensive Player of the Year, MVP, finals MVP, and regular season MVP. He had all three of those titles all in the same year. And I've never seen another player that could capture all three of those titles in the same year. And I feel like Olajuwon doesn't get some of the credit that he should get. I feel like Shaq gets a lot of, Shaq's better because he's more the legit center because he's this, that, and the other. But I don't think people realize how good Olajuwon was. And I feel like sometimes he gets underrated in a lot of those conversations.
What about you, Chris?
I would say Grant Hill. And the reason I say Grant is some of Grant Hill is because of injuries is why he is underrated. But like that dude, I think if it wouldn't been for the injuries and he would have got to keep playing at the level he was playing at, could have really been maybe one of the best players we had seen. That dude was I was a real big Grant Hill fan. But yeah, I think he's underrated for the talent that he had. I believe he's underrated.
Okay. Big Glenn.
I'm gonna give you all a little bit of a shocker in this one, but knowing who I'm a fan of, you probably shouldn't be surprised. Tyrese Halliburton. So many people hate on this game, but man, that dude can ball out.
Yeah, he was rated the most overrated player.
Oh, no, I definitely I like Halliburton.
Yep. Mine, guys, he was a famous player, but I think it's because of the era that he played in. And mine's Dr. J, Julius Erving. He did things. I mean, he was the first guy that dunked from the free throw. He did it before Jordan did it. You know, but because when he did it,
Oh, yeah,
and he
for
played
sure.
most of his career in the ABA, he was as physically gifted as any player that's ever played.
Yeah.
So mine's going to be Dr. J.
Since we're gonna mention ABA as well, I'm gonna throw in Mel Daniels as well, or Mel Daniels or Roger Brown.
Yeah.
I do want to correct one stat. It was Olajuwon had 2,000 steals and 2,000 blocks. It was the only center to ever get that. Anyway, but yeah, I like some of y'all stuff. The Grant Hill one, the Tyrese Halliburton. I mean, those are definitely some good players. That I feel like we're underrated as well.
Best Major League Baseball game that you've seen on TV and also live. Big Glenn, we'll let you go first.
Crap. I'm gonna say Cubs World Series win over Cleveland is the best one I've seen on TV. Crap. The best game that I've seen in person is kind of like also one of the most rough ones that we've had as a Reds fan. It would have to be the 2012 Game 3 NLDS where we was up against San Francisco, and we Scott Rolon drops a out at third base because we was that close to going to the NLCS. Then we lose those other two games the next 2 days against San Fran. So it's like one of the best ones, but also one of the worst.
Mine, guys, is TV game is going to be 1975 World Series, Boston Red Sox and the Reds. I believe, if I remember right, it was Game 6. That's my TV. And I've got two for the live. The 76 World Series game, I got to go see the Reds and the Yankees Game 3. It's
Nice.
hard to top that. And then the other one was recently, a few years ago, I got to see 3 or 4 years ago, I got to see the Yankees and the White Sox at the White Sox Stadium. Sold out crowd, went in extra innings. Yankees won the game, I think it was 9-8 or 10-9. The crowd, I'd never been around the crowd that was that crazy. I mean, that crowd was nuts. It was a crazy game. So them would be mine. Chris?
On TV, it would be the 1990 World Series, Reds and Athletics. Getting to watch Reds win the World Series. So
That been my number one as well, Chris. It's just tied with the Cubs winning it.
And then live, it was I can't remember the exact year, but it was a St. Louis Cardinals Cincinnati Reds game. Me, you, and Austin went to it, and it ended up being like, if I remember right, I went either 13 or 14 innings. It was a sellout crowd. Place was going crazy, and of course the Reds beat the Cardinals, which made it even sweeter because I was a Reds fan, Austin's a Cardinals fan, and that's already back then. Every time we went and watched the Reds and Cardinals, that'd be the game we went to would be the only game in that series that the Reds would win. The Cardinals would win the other two games. If we went to, the Reds would win. Austin never got to. I don't think he might have went to one game that the Cardinals won. He never got to hardly ever see the Cardinals win. That we'd always be the day we went. They'd win every other game. But yeah, that game because it went 13, 14 innings and just the crowd was into it. And then my other game live would be I went to Austin was with me at this one too, but it was a Reds and Cubs game. And a fight. Amir Garrett was pitching for the Reds, and I forget who he hit from the Cubs, and they charged him out, and the dugouts cleared, and it's pretty cool to get to see a brawl actually break out of the game that you were actually at, just seeing it on TV. So, and then I had one other one on TV besides the Reds World Series would be when Boston came back and beat the Yankees. The game Kurt Schilling pitched with the bloody sock. That was one. I remember watching that, and that's something I'll always remember would be watching that series. Even though I wasn't a big fan of that team, but just the storyline coming back from being down like that, and Schilling coming back and pitching, and that was probably one of the best games I watched on TV, as well.
Hey Jay.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess my favorite one in person was when I went to with me and my family, and my mom, dad, sister, me. My aunt worked for the Rangers at the time, and so she got us tickets right behind, right next to the dugout, and it was right behind the batters circle. And so I got to see Nolan Ryan in person, like right there in front of me. And it was cool seeing Nolan Ryan this close. He's so intimidating. And he actually signed my ball. This is where I got this ball from. I've had this ball that long, so you can't really see it too well. But yeah, you can see where I got Nolan. But there it is. There it is. So anyway, so I got Nolan Ryan to sign my ball. So that was my favorite game live. My second, I guess, on TV, I got to go with the Bloody Sock, like Gonzo said. Man, that series number one, the way they came back and did it was crazy. And the way Kurt Schilling pitched that day was stupid. And I don't think that, for me personally, seeing something on TV, I don't know if that'll ever be topped. But I did like watching on TV when Alvarez hit that ball out of the park in the World Series against the Philadelphia Phillies, and it bounced off the wall and came back, that home run. That was beautiful because Philly Sports Guy was there and we beat him. And I love watching his face and his reaction. It was amazing. And the fact that the way even the Astros, Jacob, if you remember that series, the Astros were down 2-0 going to Philly. And that's when Michael Brantley had this conversation with the Astros in the dugout saying, hey, we're not playing Astros baseball. And then they came out of that dugout and then they went on to do what they did. They went on to win the series. But I thought that was a cool series to watch. And those are my two favorite ones.
Okay, next up, guys, we've got 2 questions left. The next one's NFL. Best NFL game you've seen on TV and also live. Jay?
Yeah, I've only seen one game live in my whole life because nobody could pay for a damn ticket in my family. And I did. That was actually when the Houston Oilers were still here. My dad took me to go watch the Houston Oilers. I forget who they were playing at the time. It might have been the Bengals because, yeah, I think it was the Oilers and the Bengals, and it was in the Astrodome. So I got to see a game in the Astrodome, but I will tell you the seats in the Astrodome are horrible. Like you're so far away, you literally have to have binoculars, or they look like little dots running around. But anyway, it was just cool to get to see the football game with my dad. That was pretty cool. On TV, pretty much every single game for that the Cowboys. No, I'm kidding. Back in the 90s. No, I remember watching on TV when in Green Bay when they had the snow, the frozen tundra. I remember watching it. My dad had it, and I watched it on his little. He had a little, I think, what do you call it, VCR. My dad went to the game, and he had like the little not VCR, but some kind of camera thing, and he took a picture of it. And I saw a couple of pictures, but I didn't get to see the game. But I would say probably that Green Bay frozen tundra game is probably my favorite game. Seeing on TV.
Okay, Chris?
Oh, on TV, I have 2 of them. The first one, of course, is going to be watching my favorite one will be watching the Colts win the Super Bowl against the Bears that year.
Oh yeah.
The other game that I'll never forget watching, probably the best football game would be Colts Tampa Bay Buccaneers Monday Night Football. Colts came back from like 21 down in less than 3 minutes to forced overtime and came back and won that game. That's best game I've watched on TV. That was just awesome. And then live, it's probably the first game that me and Dad went to at Lucas Oil Stadium. It was the Colts versus New England Patriots. It was the first time going to the new stadium, and the Colts just pounded the Patriots that game. Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison were on fire. I think, if I remember right, Marvin had at least 3 touchdowns. He might have had 4 touchdown receptions that night or that day. But Colts offense came out on fire, and our defense played real well. That was one of the games I'll never forget because usually when we go watch Colts Patriots, it ended the wrong way. And then plus, it was our first time getting to see Lucas Oil because we'd had season tickets at the RC or Hoosier Dome for a while, but then we went. That was the first time going to Lucas Oil as well. So that's probably my favorite football game I've been to live.
Yeah,
Man, Billy Buzz put in there. I didn't know that happened. Did that happen? Read this. I didn't realize I'm trying to understand what he's saying. So Cal Ripken and his dad both played on the same team? Am I reading that right? Like, am I reading it right? I didn't know that the father and son played on the same team.
Well, I remember Billy. Maybe they did. Maybe he did.
That's interesting.
Mine's going to be like Chris said. Of course, the Colts winning the Super Bowl, and then also the Tampa Bay game with the Colts, and then I've got another one when the Colts come back and beat New England that year. Down
AFC Championship game.
21-3. That'd be my other one. Live, probably the same one as you, Chris. Live. There's also another one, but I don't remember who we played. I think when didn't we see Harrison like tie or break a record there at the
you and Mom did. That was
Okay.
that was one of the games because that's when we had the season tickets and we split it.
Yeah.
You and Mom was there. And if I remember right, I wanted to say it was against the Dolphins.
That may have been.
If I remember correctly, but yeah, you were there when they broke the
Broke that record.
record for the touchdown record.
Yeah,
Peyton
I was-
and Martin.
Yeah, I was there for that. And then the other one too is when me and Chris seen the Colts play the Raiders. Just the atmosphere, because the Raiders fans are they're a different breed. The Raiders fans are a different breed, so that was always cool. Big Glenn.
Yes, 06 AFC Championship. It really does not get any better than that as far as Colts fan. Come back from 21-3 against Tom Brady and the Patriots and going down to win the game, and all the stuff that happened during that comeback, with Jeff Saturday getting the ball in the end zone, then Joseph Adai run, and then for the go ahead touchdown. Then the greatest game I've seen in person was my first game at the RCA Dome. I think it was home opening week between the Colts and the Titans in 2003. This was still when Steve McNair and Eddie George were still playing pretty decent.
Yep.
It was the same. I think it was the same year that McNair and Peyton got co-MVPs. So, and we kicked Tennessee's ass that day.
Chris, did you have another one?
Yeah, the game that we went to with that Austin got us tickets for
Yep.
Father's Day
Yep.
because that's the closest. For one, it was a good game against the Falcons. I never got
Yep.
to see the Falcons play, but that was the best seats I'd ever had for an NFL game, and it was an awesome experience that day to sit at that game. So that'd be another one that live that.
I agree. Okay, got one last
pretty cool,
question, guys. Got one last question. MLB, if you could put any player on your current team to make it better, who would it be? Jay?
Oh man, that's a good one because I like the pitching. I know we need, like on my current team, I still need some pitching help, but I also need a bat. So I'm going back and forth between Greg Maddux and like a Tony Gwynn, because I like a Tony Gwynn because he's a good contact hitter, and we need a contact hitter. God, that's so hard. I think because our pitching is so decimated right now in terms of some of the stuff we have, I'm going to go pitching. I think Greg Maddux. I would take Greg Maddux and bolster up my pitching staff.
Okay, Big Glenn?
I'm gonna give Judge a case of Medeos for Shohei Ohtani.
You gonna put a Tony on the Reds, are you?
Yeah, give us some
Okay.
good hitting, some guaranteed hitting.
Okay, Chris?
I have two. If I was going pitching, I'm bringing Mariano Rivera as a closer for the Reds.
We need to close.
And if I was going for hitting or position player, it'd be Pete Rose.
I thought about Pete, but honestly, I would go because the defense and also a great bat. I'd go with Johnny Bench.
The only reason I was thinking Pete Rose too, and the only reason I chose Gwen over Pete Rose is because we need outfield help. We're okay in the infield. But we need outfield help because I like Pete Rose because obviously he's a good contact hitter, but I like Tony Gwynn because he's a contact hitter and he plays outfield. That's the only reason I went Tony Gwynn. Otherwise, I could see Pete Rose.
Remember, Pete played outfield too.
Oh, he did? I didn't remember that part. I knew it from the infield side of it.
He's
Pete-
the only
Pete-
player ever to be an all-star at 5 different positions.
He played
Well, then,
left.
okay. Then in that case, I'll switch my answer and say I'm gonna be like Gonzo. If I need pitching, I got to go Maddox, but I also need hitting. And in that case, it's now that I've been enlightened to Pete Rose playing outfield, I would go Pete Rose. Absolutely.
Played left.
Hands
I,
Played
down.
I would
left.
have taken Pete Rose, but I'm a Reds fan, so
He played left, played right, third, second, and first.
See, we need a left fielder like the worst kind of way ever. So I do need to change my answer on that. Then it would be Pete Rose.
Andy can manage your team. He
Yeah,
can help.
he gambled.
He can help,
Oh yeah.
he can help,
He can help
your
you gamble, too.
team how to gamble. I mean,
Yeah.
he can give offense to the team.
Oh, wait a
Hey,
minute.
Gonzo,
Wait
you
a
know what the
minute.
fun
Wait a
thing
minute.
about-
Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute. I got to go back to Tony Gwynn now because we've already got trash can game. I can't take no more. I can't take no more, man. I've already got trash. Hey, look, the last thing I need is another controversy.
But like, if I had to, like, really, the Reds could. And don't get me wrong, Emilio Pagan's done a good job for us at closer. But like with our starting pitching, if you could add like a Mariano Rivera type closer to us, we'd be scary.
You know
Oh,
what the
yeah.
funny thing is, though, Gonzo, about Pete Rose and betting and stuff is right across from his mural at Great American Ballpark is a Bet MGM Sportsbook right
Yep,
across the
it's
street.
sports book. Yep.
That's hilarious.
You know who made the first? You know who made the first bet at that sports book, don't you?
Pete Rose.
Pete
Pete
Rose.
Yep, Pete Rose.
The irony of
Well,
everything is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bet on the Reds to win the World Series.
Wow.
All right,
Good.
guys. That's all we got for today.
Yeah, that's all I got. Other than if you like
Yeah,
today's
I'll give us some too, man.
content, make sure if you like today's content, make sure you give us a like and subscribe on Gonzo's Sports Room's YouTube page and ESEN's YouTube page. Give us a like, subscribe. We would appreciate it. That's all I got.